What's going on, y'all? Hope you had an amazing holiday week. Hope you got time off work. Hope you got to see family, friends, whoever you close to. Man, I just hope you had an amazing week. I hope you received a gift or gave a gift to somebody, whether that be a physical gift or somebody's time, somebody's presence. And even if not, you weren't around people, bro, or I don't know what your situation is with your circle or you're close to, even if you don't have anybody, man. You watching this, you got me, you in my community, you my viewer, I got you, bro. You got family right here. So don't ever feel alone, man. Especially if you watch my videos, we probably relate, bro. So we family. But anyway, man, hope y'all had a good Christmas or whatever you celebrate. Or if you don't celebrate, hope you had a good week. I just turned 31 on the 24th, so on Christmas Eve. And yeah, I'm getting older, bro. Not old, though. I'm 31, But it's like, man, time goes by quick. And but I like the 30s, man. Because it's like you're not a kid anymore, but you're not... It's like sophomore year. That's what 30s is, sophomore year. That's how I look at it. So with this video, I took some notes on one of my favorite books called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Pretty sure that's how you say it. But I've read that book at least 4 or 5 times throughout my 20s. And I read it again like a year ago, but I took notes and I was going through my notes. I just found them. So a lot of what I'm saying is not from me, but, it's filtering out through me from my audience. So this one, as you go about your life, your daily life, right? So when you leave the house or even at the crib, don't give all of your attention, 100% of it, to the external. You want to pay attention to what's going on inside or how your body's feeling. You got to tap in with your body sometimes. How is your breathing going? Start off with that. That's number one. Make sure you're breathing correctly into the diaphragm, inhale deep. You know what I'm saying? Kind of wake you back up a little bit. And breathing, how your fingers feel, your arms, legs, toes, any tension. Like I know sometimes my forehead, I gotta remind myself to relax it. On my eyes, I squint because I feel like I carry a lot of tension in my face. I know in my back too. So be mindful of that and just come back and relax yourself. Another method that will ground you quickly, that will bring you to the present, is to pay attention to silence. You know how we all hear sounds if you're at home, like I hear my fan, I hear cars outside, noise, city noise. But pay attention to silence. It's a little more difficult to do. But when you pay attention to silence, to what's not there, man, you really focus, like because it's more difficult, right? Anybody can hear any sound, but when you try to hear silence, it brings you into the present. And when you pay attention to silence outside of yourself, that's gonna bring silence inside. When you pay attention to outer silence, it's gonna create inner silence. The mind will become still. It's gonna stop running its mouth. It's gonna stop all that activity. Your mind will stop racing. Like if you ever have trouble sleeping, bro, and I'm not saying this is a quick fix, because I used to deal with insomnia. But if you notice, insomnia is because your thoughts are just racing, 100 miles an hour. But if you silence your thoughts while you're laying there for long enough, literally like 2 minutes, you will fall asleep, more than likely. Continuous mind activity keeps you imprisoned. It's a quote from the book. You must create gaps. You got to create gaps every day. Gaps of no mind, gaps of silence. So by that, I mean just the more times throughout the day that you pay attention to what's going on outside, like what's going on in the present. So tap into any sense and you'll see what's going on in the present. You know, touch something, feel something, listen to something, look at something, smell something. It's going to bring you into the present. And the more times that you do that throughout the day, then you start stringing together more times of doing that. And, you know, you'll create more gaps of not being in your head, not being in your mind, bro. Because we know the mind is useful, but only when we need it. You know, most of the time we're not needing it. And that's the time we're listening to it. That's when it's feeding us all these negative thoughts, because the mind has one objective, and that is to survive, to keep us to survive. And I should say the mind wants to keep itself to survive, which means not letting your ego die. That's why so many people have trouble letting their ego go, you know, because their mind won't let them. They don't want to. That's like death to them. But what was I saying? Well, yeah, your mind, bro, is doing everything it can to survive. So it's going to feed you so many negative thoughts. That way you can avoid growth or changing, because growth or changing to the mind is death. You know, any type of change, whether good or bad, is death to it. So it's going to do anything it can to survive. Like right here, it says you are cut off from being as long as your mind takes up all of your attention. It says your identity derived from the mind is no longer rooted in being. So if you get who you are, if you derive your self-identity and who you are from your mind or your ego, is not rooted in your being. I hope that makes sense. I know in the past I've been like that a few times. You know, I had to learn how to become grounded in my own center, in my own gravity. When you base who you are on your mind and your thoughts, then you will always live in some kind of fear of something. But anyway, bro, just a few little quotes, thoughts I wanted to toss at you, man. But like I said, man, I hope you had a great holiday week. And if you're struggling with depression, you know, I've kind of dealt with that a lot recently. If you struggle with depression, man, I will say one quick way to exit that. I mean, it's not a quick fix, but just do something for somebody else. You know, it doesn't have to be monetary, man. Just make somebody's day. Reach out to a loved one or a friend and tell them how much you appreciate them. Show gratitude towards somebody. Just make somebody's day, even a stranger. You know, the cashier at Kroger or Publix or just anybody, man. Just make their day. And that'll set off a chain reaction. Probably make multiple people's day just off of what you did for one person, you know. It's just how the universe works. And it takes you out of, I'm not saying depression is selfish. I'm not saying that at all. You know, because I've battled it, I've dealt with it. But when you're depressed, bro, you realize that you're thinking about yourself a lot. You know, that's all you're thinking about yourself the whole time, bro. So when you do something for somebody else, help somebody else out, bro, it just takes you away from that for a little bit. And you realize how much you're thinking about yourself, bro. And that's not what life's about. It's about adding value, creating value to other people's lives. You know, doing for others. For real. But I get it, man. Like, I know I spend a lot of time thinking about myself or things I want. Too much of anything is bad, but too much of just thinking like that, bro, is not good, because it's going to lead you to making selfish decisions with no regard of how it affects other people. You know, and making decisions for yourself obviously is a good thing, but you have to keep, you know, at least the people close to you in mind, the people that care about you. Think about how it affect them, and if it doesn't affect them, if it's gonna affect their life in any type of negative way, bro, it's just not worth it. Usually it's not worth it. But yeah, man, love y'all, man. Tap back in with me next week. I'm out.